Hello, welcome to Polyphonic Press. My name is Jeremy Boyd, and today I'm going to be reviewing the new album by David Bowie entitled The Next Day. Here we go. David Bowie has a career that has spanned over 40 years and has gone through very many changes. Whether it was a folk singer-songwriter in the 1960s, a glam rocker in the 70s, new wave in the 80s, or industrial in the 90s, he's always stayed true to himself and has never compromised on what he wants to do. This album comes after a 10-year hiatus from the music industry to spend time with his daughter, and this is his 24th album overall and is called The Next Day. And this album starts off with the title track, The Next Day, which is a really solid rock and roll song. It's a pretty straightforward back to basics rock song, and it features some really great guitars and a very steady beat. Musically, it actually reminds me of mid-90s alternative rock. You know, that sort of stripped down back to basics rock and roll that just has guitars, bass, and drums, nothing really too much else going on. The thing that I took away from this song is it's very much a song of defiance. The message that I took is it's sort of like saying, here I am, I've been away for a while, but I'm back. And I think it draws some very clear lines in the sand as to where he is in his life. The song The Stars Are Out Tonight happens to be the second single from the album. Stylistically, it's very much like a 60s pop song. It's got a very steady beat and jangly 12-string guitars, and the bass is doing this sort of Motown kind of rhythm, which I think really works well with this kind of music. And there's also a lot of psychedelic elements mixed in there as well, which I think work too. The vocals are a little bit darker in terms of melody and the timbre of David Bowie's voice, sort of like the music and the vocals are sort of working against each other, and I think that makes for an interesting dynamic for the song. The first single from the album is the song Where Are We Now, and it's somewhat of a slower song and the instruments are very sparse. They leave a lot of space and the pacing of the song is somewhat slow and it kind of drags on for me. It's not a terrible song, but I think it's one of the weaker songs on a strong album, and to me it's the chink in the armor that kind of holds this album back from being really good to being really great. And I think maybe if they had left this song off it would have been better, but in all honesty, when I heard this song, I was just happy that David Bowie was making music again. The song Boss of Me is an interesting track. It feels like a classic David Bowie song, but at the same time it feels very fresh and new, which is I think something that David Bowie has successfully done throughout his whole career. His voice on this song is in top form, and you can really kind of tell that he's giving it his all. Like a lot of artists his age, they tend to phone it in when they release a new album. They don't really put as much effort as they would have otherwise, and I don't think that's the case with David Bowie on this album. And this song really emphasizes that fact that he's, really interested in making some really good music, and he's not just, putting out an album because he feels obligated to. The album ends with the song Heat, which is another slower song, but unlike the song Where Are We Now, it really doesn't drag on or feel weak or anything like that, and I think the reason for that is because the lyrics are pretty strong. There's really an underlying theme with the lyrics of this album, and it's really songs that are written from David Bowie's age and his perspective and how he sees the world and sort of like what's coming next and what's going to be the next chapter in his life, which is I think why he called the album The Next Day. This is probably the most personal song he's written, and I think it really comes at a good time in his life. The production on this album is really well done. There are a few things that I would have gone differently, maybe some less processing on the voice at times, maybe a little less echoes, let the voice breathe naturally, but otherwise it was a pretty good mix. I think this is one of the stronger albums that David Bowie has done in his career, and whatever complaints I have are pretty minor. It's a pretty strong effort, so I'm going to give this album an 8 out of 10. So anyway, that's what I thought about the album. Let me know what you guys think in the comments or with a video response. If you'd like to suggest an album for me to review, please leave that in the comments as well. Don't forget to check out polyphonicpress.com for lots more content, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy.